All right, so let's dive in. Hey, I'm sorry. Okay? You don't have to cry. So again, it's Mother's Day. It's a day that we celebrate our moms, our children's moms, our moms, our stepmoms, everything mom. Am I right? We do that. We really pull one day out of the year to do that. Some of you would argue that maybe you need more than one day. I'm saying don't be selfish, okay? One day is enough. But how you have raised us, how you have raised and are raising, our children, the sacrifices that you make and have made each day. Some of you can and are sitting there today thinking about your mom who is no longer with us. Just the sacrifices that they made so that you could be here. And I don't mean here on earth. Okay, I don't mean that saying of I brought you into the world to take you out. Okay, I mean here at church. Your moms made a sacrifice to bring you to a place where Jesus was taught, and you came to a point in your life where you trusted him and said, all right, I'm going to follow that guy. Okay? And now you do the same for your children and your family. Okay? So that sacrifice and the legacy that was left behind by moms all across the globe. Okay? Let's see here. What is that sacrifice, though? I mean, that's something that I think is probably asked numerous times. I mean, what actually is that sacrifice that they made? I mean, they woke up a little earlier to get me ready to come to church. I mean, what is it? What was or is given up so that your children can have the opportunity to know this Jesus? How will your life be remembered? Okay, I think that's really where we're going to go this morning. How will your life be remembered? We're going to look at a story from the Bible. And nobody get mad at me, okay? I don't want to hear it. We're going in John. Okay? It just fit with what I needed to talk about today, all right? So, like I said, I don't want to hear it afterwards. Lance, we've been in John for 7 years. There's 65 other books you could have chosen from, but no, really though. So we're going to look at a story from the Bible that shows a woman that made a sacrifice so that others could see and hear Jesus. Okay? Before we do, though, we're not going to read the scripture yet. Before we do that, we're going to look at some tombstones. Okay? And I'm going to say a name, and we're going to interact here. Okay? I want you to tell me when I say the name in the tombstone. I don't even know if you can. Okay, yeah, you can. Maybe you can see it. Yes, you can see it better up there. Okay, when I say the name, I want you to tell me what comes to your mind when I say this person's name. Okay? The first tombstone up here, and all you can see up here, if you can see it, is the date of birth and the date of death. Okay? This one doesn't necessarily have that little dash there, but we're kind of concentrating on that little dash. You all know this, that dash. That's what you did from birth to death. Okay? That's it. Shoeless Joe Jackson. Baseball. Anybody got anything else? Band. General. Andrew Jackson. 356 hitter. Look at that guy. Okay. Here we go. Shoeless Joe Jackson. You can't tell this you can probably tell baseball by looking at it, but here we go. He played for three major league teams during a 12-year career. He played left field most of his career. Currently has the third highest career batting average in major league history. Okay? But here you go. It's even more wow when I tell you when he played. In 1911, okay, so over 100 years ago, all right, Jackson hit for an average of 408. It is still the sixth highest single-season total since 1901, which marked the beginning of the modern era for the sport. His average that year also set the record for batting average in a single season by a rookie. Babe Ruth said that he modeled his hitting technique after Jackson's. Jackson still holds the Indians and White Sox franchise records for both triples in a season and career batting average. In 1999, he ranked number 35 on the Sporting News list of 100 greatest baseball players. and was nominated as a finalist for the Major League Baseball All-Century Team. The fans voted him the 12th best outfielder of all time. Okay, and again, that's probably 16, 17 years ago, but still, it's pretty dang good. He is remembered, so the dash, okay, his legacy, what he is remembered for his performance on the field and for his alleged association with the Black Sox scandal, which members of the 1919 Chicago White Sox participated in a conspiracy to fix the World Series. That is what Shoeless Joe Jackson is remembered for. Next tomb, Abraham Lincoln. Again, he's 1809 to 1855. There's that dash there, though. What are some things that we... Civil War, freedom, slaves. I mean, there's not much I can probably pull off the interweb that you're not going to tell me right now. But I do have a few points here. President during one of the most trying times in history, attributed to freeing the slaves, gave one of the most famous speeches in all of the world in history, okay, the Gettysburg Address, and he was murdered, okay? That's his dash. I mean, that's it. Those are things he's remembered for. Next one, David Koresh. Now, that's not going to bring up any fuzzy feelings to anyone, hopefully, but he has a dash as well. Can anybody tell me, what do you think of when you read that name? Lunatic? What? Bad man. Okay, we're just going to leave it at that. Here's his dash. A rapist, a killer, and because of his actions, 79 people died in the whole Waco tragedy. Okay? That's his dash, unfortunately. Next slide. Martin Luther King Jr. So his dash. What do you think of when you hear that name? Freedom, peace, loving. Okay.
Loves the Lord.
Loves Jesus. All right, so here we go. Here's his dash. Civil rights activist. Okay. Nobel Peace Prize winner. His famous, again, probably one of the most famous speeches in all of history, the I Have a Dream speech. And like Abraham Lincoln, he too was murdered. So his dash, I mean, those are things that you think of. Next one. We got Mother Teresa. What do you think of when you think of Mother Teresa? Perfection. Anybody else? Mother to all, and it's Mother's Day. Was it a coincidence I put her up there? Maybe, maybe not. Mercy. Here we go. Here's her dash, okay? In 1950, she founded the Missionaries of Charity, a Roman Catholic religious congregation which had over 4,500 sisters and was active in 133 countries in 2012. The congregation manages homes for people dying of AIDS, HIV, leprosy, and tuberculosis, has soup kitchens, dispensaries, and mobile clinics, children's and family counseling programs, orphanages, and schools. She received a number of honors, including the 1962 Roman Peace Prize. In 1979, she received the Nobel Peace Prize. She was canonized, which recognized by her church as a saint last year, 2016. So that's her dash. I mean, she did some pretty cool things. Her legacy and what she left behind. Okay, next one. Lee Harvey Oswald. What do you think of? Dallas, Kennedy, killer. Okay. So those are probably the things that we think of right off the bat. Maybe some things that we didn't really know about him. He was a former U.S. Marine who assassinated President Kennedy. According to 4 federal government investigations and 1 municipal investigation, Oswald shot and killed Kennedy as the president traveled by motorcade through Dealey Plaza of Dallas, Texas. And I took this straight off the interweb, and nowhere does it say allegedly. Okay, so conspiracy theories are out the door there. But no, I mean, that's what the guy's known for. But it is kind of interesting to think that at one point in time he was a U.S. Marine. So next one. Ronald Reagan. Okay? Great. Look at that. I bet I can tell who you voted for. We heard a lot about him over the last, year and a half through the debates and everything. People really brought him up. great president, common sense. Here's a little bit about him. Entering the presidency in 1981, Reagan implemented sweeping new political and economic initiatives. His supply-side economics policy, dubbed Reaganomics, advocated tax rate reduction to spur economic growth, control of the money supply to curb inflation, economic deregulation, and reduction in government spending. In his first term, he survived an assassination attempt during the war on drugs and spurred the war on drugs. He didn't get shot at during the war on drugs. And fought public sector labor. During his re-election bid, Reagan campaigned on the notion that it was morning in America, winning in a landslide with the largest electoral college victory in American history. Foreign affairs dominated his second term, including ending the Cold War, the bombing of Libya, the Iran-Contra affair. He publicly describing the Soviet Union as an evil empire, and during his famous speech at the Brandenburg Gate, you probably all heard this before, Gorbachev, tear down this wall, okay? Leaving office in 1989, Reagan held an approval rating of 68%, matching only those of FDR and just a few short years later, Bill Clinton, as the highest ratings of departing presidents in the modern era. So, probably one of the great presidents, just like you said. Next one, this is the last one. Babe Ruth. Okay, so his dash, what do you think of when you hear that name? Baseball, home runs. Okay, so here's Babe Ruth. Here's the man, New York. Here's the man's dash, all right? Ruth has been named the greatest player of all time in various surveys and rankings. And these are kind of old, but a lot of people probably still put them up there. In 1998, the Sporting News ranked him number 1 on the list of the 100 greatest baseball players. In 1999, baseball fans named Babe Ruth to the Major League Baseball Century Team. He was named baseball's greatest player ever in a ballot commemorating the 100th anniversary of professional baseball. The Associated Press reported in 1993 that only Muhammad Ali was tied with Babe Ruth as the most recognized athletes in America. In 1999, an ESPN poll ranked him as the second greatest U.S. athlete of the century, only behind Michael Jordan. In 1983, the post office honored Ruth with and this blows my mind right here, a 20-cent stamp. Okay? 7 of the 15 most expensive items of sports memorabilia and of the 10 most expensive items of baseball memorabilia ever sold at auction are associated with Babe Ruth. So, that's a little bit about Babe. So again, your dash. What is it whenever, kind of morbid I guess, but when your tombstone is up there and when you read yours and it has your date of birth and your date of death, what is that dash going to say about you? The great thing is you're never too old and you're never too young to write that dash. Okay, we're going to dive in. Go ahead and turn to John chapter 4. And we're going to check out really the dash of this lady and how you can change your dash. And we're going to build some context. We're really going to concentrate on verses 16 through 31, but I want to build the context and the story of it with what's going on here. So starting at verse 7, it says this: There came a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. Therefore the Samaritan woman said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask me for a drink, since I am a Samaritan woman?" For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans. Jesus answered and said to her, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is that says to you, 'Give me a drink,' you would have asked him, and he would have given to you living water." She said to him, "Sir, you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. Where then do you get the living water? You are not greater than our father Jacob, are you, who gave us this well, and drank of it himself and his sons and his cattle?" Jesus answered and said to her, "Everyone who drinks of this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I will give him shall never thirst. But the water that I, let me reread that. But the water that I will give him will become in him a well of water springing up to eternal life." The woman said to him, "Sir, give me this water, so I will not be thirsty, nor come all the way here to draw." He said to her, "Go, call your husband and come here." The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You have correctly said, I have no husband. For you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you now have is not your husband. This you have said truly." The woman said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and you people say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship." Jesus said to her, "Woman, believe me, an hour is coming when neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. You will worship what you do not know. We worship what we know, for salvation is from the Jews. But an hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For such people the Father seeks to be his worshipers. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth." Verse 25. The woman said to him, "I know that Messiah is coming, he who is called Christ. When that one comes, he will declare all things to us." Jesus said to her, I love this part too, "I who speak to you am he." At this point, his disciples came, and they were amazed that he had been speaking with a woman, yet no one said, what do you seek? Or, "Why do you speak with her?" So the woman left her water pot and went into the city and said to the men, "Come, see a man who told me all the things I have done. This is not the Christ, is it?" They went out of the city and were coming to him. There you go. We're not going to read 31. I don't know why I had that one on there. That's my bad. Okay, so there's a lot of scripture there, but again, I wanted us to see what, the whole story and what was going on. I didn't want to just focus in on the ones later on. So we see that, Jesus is at the well, and the woman comes to get water. Okay, if you're taking notes, if you want to. So the first point, we're going to look at her past legacy. Okay, so if she were to die, here we go. So verses 16 through 18 say this. He said to her, "Go, call your husband and come here." The woman answered and said, "I have no husband." Jesus said to her, "You have correctly said, I have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one whom you have now is not your husband. This you have said truly." So, her past legacy. Okay, if the story stopped there, and if she died there, her dash is, okay, you've had 5 husbands, and you're shacked up with a guy now who's not your husband. Okay, that's it. That's your legacy. We can conclude some things from this. Okay, number 1. And I'm not saying that she wasn't faithful in her 5 marriages, but you're not faithful. You didn't stick with number 1. Okay? And again, you're with somebody now who's not your husband either. Listen to me, okay? Listen to what I'm saying. I'm 36 years old, all right? I haven't lived that long, but I've lived long enough. I know a few things, okay? If you've been married 5 times, I know there's always the excuse, well, he sleeps on the side of the bed that I want to sleep on, so it's just not going to work out. Or he eats his peas one at a time. I don't like that, or Mom, he just does this, and I just don't like it. Listen to me, okay? The common factor is you. Okay? That's it. So there have been 5 different spouses, but each one has been married to you. Okay? So maybe you are the problem. And that doesn't necessarily mean if you've never been married, if you are divorced now, okay, I'm not saying that it's you, but listen to me, okay? You may have the problem. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just may be it. How can we as parents, how can we as people, okay, ones that claim to follow Jesus, ones that come to church and sing the songs and listen, and throughout the week at some point in time, hey, what did you learn about little Johnny in church Sunday? Whatever it is. How can we do these things with our children? How can we show our children, our grandchildren, people that we come in contact with, how to be faithful, how to be loyal, how to be trustworthy, if we're not? You know? How can we do that? I'd rather have somebody that's been down the road and done it than somebody that goes down the road and says, yeah, it's too hard, let's go down this one. It's too hard, let's go down this one. Well, no, finish the road, okay? We must recognize our relationship with Jesus, and we must live that life. I mean, that's it, okay? Her past legacy, like I said, if she died now, that's it. But the great thing is, the story goes on, okay? So we got our past legacy. The next one, I bet you can figure it out. It's the present legacy. Verse 23 says this, but an hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For such people the Father seeks to be his worshipers. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. The woman said to him, I know that Messiah is coming. When that one comes, he will declare all things to us. Jesus said to her, and I said it when I was reading it, I love this part, I who speak to you am he. Okay? So she's telling this man that she has no idea who it is. Yeah, when he comes, he's going to declare all these things to us and blah, 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 blah. And he's just sitting there. I can just imagine it, honestly. Picture it for a second. She may be standing up with her bucket at the thing, and he's just sitting there. Well, yeah, I'm he. I am him. So she's telling him, this is what Jesus is going to do. Picture that in your head for a minute. Okay, I would have loved to have seen her face when the man she's talking to, she is telling him, yeah, he's going to do this and this and this. Well, that's me. Oh my. Can you imagine her jaw dropped, eyes like wide, like, huh? What you talking about, Willis? It's just funny. You've heard this a million times. Preachers say, God has a sense of humor. And if you really think about the facial expression she must have had when he just declared to her, well, hey, I am that Messiah. Okay, you're talking to him. That's pretty cool. I like it. So her present legacy is speaking with Jesus. That's a great legacy right there. If she were to die now, okay, you know what? I can forget about the past legacy. She died now. Wow, she spoke with Jesus. That's pretty cool. Like she met him at the well. That's what I remember her about. That's pretty neat. That's a good legacy. But the story doesn't end there. And I bet you can't guess what the next point is. Past, present, future. So her future legacy. So the woman, here we go, verse 28 says this. So the woman left her water pot and went into the city and said to the men, come, see a man who told me all the things that I have done. This is not the Christ, is it? They went out of the city and were coming to him. The key here that we're honing in on what her legacy is going to be now. Okay? We've seen the past, we've seen the present, having an odd conversation, really, with Jesus. And if you've been a Christian, more than 10 minutes, you've probably had some of those odd conversations with Jesus to begin with. Okay? But we see this, and now it's her future legacy. Now's the time she can rewrite everything. Okay? It's not about the past. It's not about her 5 failed marriages. It's not about her speaking with Jesus at that moment in that odd conversation. We're going to key in on verse 28. Okay? It says she left her water pot and went to tell people about Jesus. And that's what it is. She left her water pot. Now, understand this. The scriptures don't tell us necessarily why she left it. Okay? Did she in a haste just forget it? Possibly. Was it big and heavy? maybe, okay? But the thing is, though, it's in here, and it's in there for a reason, okay? If God didn't want us to know that she left her water pot, just some insignificant thing, then he wouldn't have put it in there. So it's not that insignificant. So the key, again, is the water. The water pot was essential to life. Think about this for a second, okay? So the women took their water pots and went to the well each day to get water, okay? And this water was used for everything, okay? So think about how big these pots really needed to be. It was used for drinking, for cooking, for bathing, washing your feet, for purification. Okay, all these things, this water pot, the water in there is used for. Okay, so it kind of leads, it could be that it was too big and too heavy for her to hurry back and tell people who the heck she just met. Okay, but she left it there because she needed to get, you know what, I've got an important message. I don't have time to worry about my water pot right now. I got to get and tell people who the heck I just talked to, who told me all the things that I've done. So think about that. Each water use for the water was also in its own little vessel too. Now, I'm not saying she could have the big long stick with ropes holding different pots, okay, and filled each, this is my cooking one over here, this is what I'm gonna drink out of, this one's for, nasty feet, and they didn't have Suave soap, okay, they didn't have Lamisil for your foot fungus or whatever, it was all done with the water from the well that Jacob drank from himself, as did his friends and cattle. But anyway, so again, we got to fill all those things up. So it's either a big water pot that she brought there or multiple ones, but it just says water pot, so we're going to go with the big one. Okay, we're just going to do that. If you disagree with me, good for you. So was she in a hurry? Possibly. She needed to get back, had a sense of urgency to tell people. Okay, why is it here? Why is it in the Scriptures? Maybe to let us know that sometimes we have to leave behind important things. Sometimes to live a life that demonstrates the love of Jesus, and to have your friends, family, children, whoever, okay, come to a place where they hear of Jesus, and come to a place where they decide then and there they want Christ in them, okay, we must leave something behind or give something up. Think about that for a moment, okay? That legacy that we talked about before. And I told you, your moms, and this goes for moms here, but again, even moms that are not here any longer, and you're sitting there right now and you're thinking about their life and what they did, whether it be, my mom was faithful in getting me ready, awake, and out the door every Sunday to go to church, to hear flannel board, or to see a flannel board and to tell me the story of Jesus and all this stuff. Hey, I may not have soaked it in then, but 10 years later, 20 years later, 30 years later, man, my mom did a lot just to get me there to hear who Jesus was, to have that odd conversation at some point in your life and time. That's that legacy, that dash. And again, you can rewrite that dash no matter what's gone on in the past. Okay? I rewrite my dash every day. Someday, if you want to know what the heck happened in my life, come ask me. Okay? But when I moved to Melbourne in 2009, okay, if my dash had ended then, man, life would have kind of stunk a little bit. I mean, I had a beautiful daughter. I had a mom and a brother and family that loved me, but I'm sure all those other people did too. I'm sure, the bad people, okay, David Koresh and Oswald, I'm sure they had family that loved them and cared about them, but that dash would have stunk. I wouldn't, but every day, you know what? I can get up in the morning and say, you know what? The dash is going to change a little bit today. I'm going to do this today. My dash is going to be changed. So here we go. Now, the woman's legacy isn't 5 failed marriages. It's not being untrustworthy. It's not being unfaithful. It's not being unloyal. Okay? I do have to have a little side note here. Do not walk away from here thinking that Lance says that if I've been divorced, then I've been unfaithful. Okay? I'm not saying that at all. Okay? God calls us to marriage as one for life. Okay? And that's it. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on from that quickly. But rather, her legacy is giving something up so that people will know who Jesus is. Okay? What is it that's keeping you from a legacy of bringing people to come see Jesus? Of bringing people to see for themselves? Okay, look, I know we're not leaving water pots behind, okay? This is our water pot in 2017. It's a bottle of water, okay? Great thing is this can be left up here, and next week Greg will get it and walk through that door into the kitchen and drop it in the trash can. And you know what? Lance will probably bring another one, okay? We're not leaving water pots behind, all right? We're going to town, okay? So, but there is something that is keeping us from telling people about Jesus or about Midtown, okay? If you've been here the last 2, 3, 4 months, I mean, you've heard me talk about these things, even up here giving announcements. Just asking somebody to come. You know, we love our church. We love Midtown. We love our pastor, okay? And we know that he preaches what the Scriptures tell us. Okay, that's it. The man studies it. The man knows it. And he gives it to us. Why in the world would we not want somebody? And again, it doesn't matter who it is. Okay, whether it be family members, neighbors, coworkers, some random person that you see on the street holding a sign saying, "I'm hungry." Well, guess what? I'll feed you. Okay, you can come eat some of the Scripture, because every Sunday our pastor gives it to us, okay? We are holding the key to life, the key to never thirsting again. But yet, sometimes I feel like that key, I'm going to stick it in my back pocket. I don't want anybody to take the key from me, because then I won't be able to get into the door. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's it for you. Just tell about your church. Maybe that's all you got to do. I'm not saying that all of us have to be an evangelist and have those odd conversations, okay, where, hey, man, so... And hey, I remember a year ago or so, Greg talked about the bracelet with the bees, and he doesn't like that thing, or he showed the picture of, here's you over here, and, here's Jesus, or to God, to get over there's this big cavern in the middle, there's no way. Oh, but Jesus made the way, so there's the cross, so we can cross over now. Look, I'm not telling you to have those conversations. I'm not saying that. Maybe all it is about your church. Hey, man, we meet on Sundays. We sing some songs. Jesus is preached. Come out, buddy. Well, that sounds boring. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But guess what? What's crazy is she's thirsty. What's crazy is we will tell someone about a restaurant we went to 3 months ago, and 3 months later, we're still telling you. By the way, if you go to Orlando, you like Mexican food, Chuy's is the place to go. Okay? We will tell people about a restaurant all day long. Okay? And if you're in the car driving somewhere and you ate at the restaurant literally a year ago, you're going to drive by there and say, yeah, don't eat there. That place is nasty. Okay? We'll do it. We will tell someone about a movie we watched. They're bringing it up. It's coming out on video now. By the way, if you haven't seen Beauty and the Beast, go see that. That's good. Okay? We will tell people all day long about that kind of stuff. But when it comes to what you do every Sunday, week in and week out, we shy away from it. Why do we do that? Why are we so scared to say, hey, I go to church on Sundays? Why do we not, and here, I'm freelancing this, okay? Why is Sunday morning not a priority? And why are we afraid to tell people? Now, some of you, it absolutely is a priority. If you are an able body to get up and get here, you are going to be here. Okay? It doesn't matter if the building burnt down the night before, you are still going to be here making coffee for some people, handing out a bulletin of a burnt down building. You are going to do it. Okay? That's how faithful you are and how much you love this place. But again, when was the last time we brought somebody with us? No, whether I'm not even saying go pick them up. They met us out there. They just came here, whatever. When was the last time we told someone about our church? Okay? Hey, man, it smells like burnt ruins now. We can roast some marshmallows out there, but come anyway. Okay? It's a great place. We love it. We're small, and we're family. You know? And that's a great thing right there. All right? So, it's something I think we do. We get away from that, I believe, at times. And sometimes it's good to have that reminder. Again, what is your dash? What would your legacy be? Think about that for a moment. If life ended right now for every one of us, first of all, that would be crazy. Because we're all in the same room and we all just died just like that. No. Except me, because I drank this water, not the water out of this faucet. But what would your legacy be? What would people remember you about? Okay? I mean, I can probably point to a few of you and say something. Some of you I couldn't. But what would you be remembered about? Is it that you were nice? Is it that you... I remember the church I worked at in Apopka. There was the old man who was the candy man. Okay? You always knew you could walk up to him and get a piece of candy from him every single Sunday. Now, I knew the man more than that. He was somebody that loved Jesus and wanted kids to know who Jesus was. And it sounds kind of wrong right now, giving kids candy to talk to them. But it every week, hey, I got the young families laughing at that one. Every week, giving candy, okay? And people loved the guy. Hey, he's known as the candy man, all right? He may have that on his tombstone. He honestly may actually put that on there. But what are you going to be remembered about? Okay? What is it? I'll say that 500 times before we close. What are you going to be remembered about? Okay? Life just ended for you. Think about it for a moment. Life just ended. What is it that your dash will say? That you were unfaithful, untrustworthy, unloyal, that you ate your peas one at a time, and so, you're a weirdo. I mean, whatever it is. Okay? Think about it. Or can your dash can say this, because again, you can rewrite that thing every single morning when you wake up. Will your dash say, you know what? I love Jesus, and I wanted people to know who Jesus was. Because guess what? Okay? And we've heard it a million times. If you've been in church, like I said, for 10 minutes, all right, hey, guess what? If you necessarily don't go tell someone who Jesus is or invite them to a place where they can hear who Jesus is, who's going to? I mean, it's simple like that. It really is. Who will? And I believe as church and as a follower of Jesus, as followers of Jesus, you need to do it. So again, your dash, what will it say? Here we go. We'll tell people, maybe that's all you got to do. Just tell them about where you go. Okay, you go to a place that you love. I mean, you love this place. You support this place. You love your pastor. You support your pastor. So again, why not tell somebody? So, guess what? Here they're going to have a chance to have the all conversation with Jesus, an opportunity to rewrite their own legacy. Because just like you, there's going to be a time where, their tombstone is going to have that second date put on there too. And their dash is going to say something. In your seat, or spread out in the seats, was a little card. Okay? What we want to do is we kind of want to help get the conversation started. Okay? I don't have one up here with me, but I know what it says. The front of it, let me explain it to you. The front of it says, lunch is on me. Now, there is no way in the world that lunch is on me, okay? So, do not bring that. Say, hey, Lance, where are we going, buddy? You can go wherever you want. All right? What we want to do, like I've said, we'll tell people all day long about a restaurant we went to. I told somebody this morning, how quickly, if I sit there and say, hey, Clark, you want to go lunch today? I'll pay. Clark's going to say, well, heck yeah. Why would I not want to go to lunch if you're buying? Okay? So what we want you to do is somebody you come in contact. I don't care if it's a family member. I don't care if it's a neighbor. I don't care who it is. Okay? The back of that card says, come to church any Sunday in June, and lunch is on me. You. Okay? You invite your person that you are hopefully trying to think of right now, and hey, lunch is on me. Come to lunch. But guess what? Before lunch, we got to go to church. Okay? Take somebody to eat. I don't care if you take them to your house and cook for them. Okay? Make sure it's good. Okay? Because we do want them to come back. Don't poison anything. Okay? But it's just a little helper to help us. Like I said, you invite me to lunch, I'm coming. Okay? If you're paying. All right? If you're not paying, I'll think about it. Okay? But so take those cards with you. There's only one, maybe every 2 or 3 seats. There's more in the back. So if you honestly want to take more, take some. Okay, we want to give those suckers out and have people come, just to have that on conversation. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's all you got to do. How easy is that? Like I said, I'm not asking you to sit down with somebody and explain to them, how to be saved or how to become, how to get Christ in them. Just invite them to church and take them to lunch. All right? That's it. So let's pray real quick. Let me pray for you. And just everything about you and our legacies. And as we leave today, okay, and as you go through your week, and every morning you wake up, think about what is your dash? What is your family going to say about you at your funeral? I will say this, and I don't mean this rudely at all, okay? I've had this conversation with my mom already at one point in time. So my grandma passed away 2 years ago. And we honestly were thinking of what in the world can we say nice about her, okay? And we struggled with it. We honestly did. We struggled. But the great thing is once the conversation got started, we started thinking about things. And just little things that she did that we all remembered her about, remembered, it was good. It was nice, okay? So like I said, I don't mean it, mean or rudely or anything like that. But we struggled with it. Her dash at that point in time was, not good. But once we started remembering and really remembering, and like I said, the conversation got opened up, and the whole family started, well, remember she did this, or, one thing I remember, there was a drawer that was just full of gum, okay, all the time. She always had gum. It's small, okay, you're like, okay, Lance, I don't really care, but it's something that all the grandkids always remember. She had a drawer full of gum. So if your breath was nasty, or you just wanted something to eat, and she was a grandma too. Well, no, you ain't gonna have nothing to eat because you're gonna have lunch in 4 hours. Okay, so go chew some gum. Okay, there was always gum. All right. So anyway, what is your legacy? I don't want you to be looking at your family, down from heaven or wherever, and they're struggling to think, well, what can we say good about them? I have no idea. I mean, they drove a blue car. I don't know. So as you go through your week and at lunch today, even think about it today. So I want to pray for you this week. So let's do that.